Missing the D.
All right, hello. We are
Hello.
on air with Constance, or as I like to call her, Connie.
Hey, everybody.
So I'm not gonna talk too much because we all know what we're here for. But I just want to do a quick introduction. Connie, can you tell us what you do and just tell us a little bit about what you do in Detroit and who you are?
Okay. Hey, everybody. I am Constance Thomas, but as she stated, she knows me as Connie. I'm a Detroit girl to the day I die hard, as we kind of say sometimes, the murder mitten dirty glove. But, there's no murder over here in this area, not where I live. But I am a 33-year-old married mother of three. We live in Midtown Detroit, which is actually one of the vibrating areas now in the city of Detroit that actually used to be called Cass Corridor, where there used to be nothing but prostitutes and drug dealers and abandoned buildings. Now it is redeveloped lofts, apartments, homes, revitalization of storefronts, and a lot of shopping down here that's happening. So I am now in the hub of what's really happening. Grew up in Northwest Detroit and actually met my husband in high school, though we never dated at all until 5 years after we got out of high school. We reconnected, and now we have three lovely busy boys, Kamani, Dylan, and Chase, who are 10, 6, and 2. He'll be 3 in August. I currently work as an event manager for Cobo Center, which is the leading convention center for Detroit, where the North American International Auto Show is held every year. And we work with thousands of sponsors and dealers and manufacturers during that time. So that's what I do, but I'm also a public relations practitioner and an advocate for the community on the side. Is that enough?
Yes, that's fierce, girl. I love it. I just love that. I know so many just talented and wonderful folks.
Yeah.
So, I believe we were talking a little bit last week leading up to the interview about some of the real cool events that you've been attending over the past few weeks. So, has anything stood out to you? Anything you want to talk about that was really fun?
Actually, Friday. How about this? This is so crazy. My best friend, Dee, she's a dentist, DSA alumni as well, class of 98 with myself. She calls me. I was actually a part of social media day in Detroit at Techtown, Detroit. Ooh. And that was a bunch of, new media advocates, very involved in social media. I went and took part of that with Social Media Michigan's association, great organization, and learned a lot of people, met people from Ignite Social Media, from Airfoil Incorporation, along with the guy from Google. So that was a great event that was popping off. Normally it happens at Motor City Casino, but this year it ended up being in Techtown, which is right on the cusp of Midtown, where I live, is right in the Wayne State University area. So it wasn't that far from my home. So that was a great event. Once I finished that, my best friend calls me and she says, "Hey, meet us down in Campus Martius." I said, "Okay, what's going on?" She's like, "Girl, it's a concert. Just come down." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." And she was showing some friends around because my company, Cobo Center, was hosting the Association of General Dentistry. So they had their convention there. And 2 of her friends were in town. So she was showing them. I get downtown to Campus Martius, and Stephen Marley is performing. Didn't even know it.
Oh, I think I saw your pictures.
Didn't even know it. How about that? Okay. I'm just like, oh yeah, dang. I'm like, it's a lot of people. I'm like gigging, like, okay, reggae music. I'm like, Trenchtown coming back. And then who is playing? You know, I'm like, who's playing? She like, girl, Stephen Marley. I said, what? Free concert, okay? Free concert. So you have stuff like that that is constantly popping off. You know, free concerts in campus marshes. In New Center Park, you have every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays where you have free movies or free concerts happening. Last year, my favorite, they played School Days. You know, like, I'm a HBCU alum, FAMU represent, go Rattlers. You know, watching School Days, but then like playing Casablanca, having salsa night, all of this free, okay? All of this free on 3rd and West Grand Boulevard. So you got little stuff like that's happening. And then we'll rewind about 3 weeks ago. One of my favorite things that I never miss, this is probably his 6th event, called the Kareem Riggins Juke Joint. And some people, if you know who he is, great. If you don't, you need to know who he is. Kareem Riggins is an amazing producer, produces music for Erykah Badu, you got Mos Def, you got Talib Kweli. Like, he, like, banging beats, okay? Banging beats. So he throws this party every couple of months. It's been like every quarter, it seems like he throws a party. Only costs you $10. So you have $10 to get you into a club where it's going to be nothing but good, real hip-hop music. You know, and this music today is not, you know, happening. I can't even tell you half these people. I saw a picture. I don't know what I was looking like. I think I saw a picture of ASAP or like 2 Chainz or somebody. I said, he's scary. I said, no, who would have a baby with him? Like that, you don't want that. You don't want that. So, here it is, you got a good-looking guy, but producing, like, banging beats, De La Soul, Rakim, EPMD, you know, just good classic music, and you just banging your head all night. Like, that's the only time where I stay on my feet all night.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yes, you have a really, really good time. And like I said, only $10. There's no inflation at the door. $10 straight. You know, so it's things like that that pops off that I enjoy. But also as a mother, I have, like, my 3 boys. My boys love to play chess. And at the Detroit Institute of Arts, also known as the DIA, you have free chess every Friday night. And it's free to families. It's family fun night on Fridays. So here it is, you have this free entry if you live in Wayne, Oakland, or Macomb counties. You get in for free. You can't do the exhibits. That's still pay, like the special exhibits. But everything else is free. And, like, my kids get to play chess all night from, like, 6 to 8 o'clock. No, I'm sorry, 4 to 8 o'clock. You can't beat that.
Yeah. That's really cool. So pretty much, do you also walk to work? Because Cobo isn't far from Cass Corridor. But, I mean, like, you could probably bike.
Yes, I could. I'm actually in the process of buying a new bike, but I can totally ride my bike to work. If I rode my bike to work, it'll probably take me about a 15-minute ride, possibly, because I'm straight up Woodward Avenue, the well-known Woodward Avenue. I'm 2-3 blocks away from it from my house, and my job is probably 4 blocks off of Woodward. So we're right off the river. Walking, I love walking, and that's what I do. But I do actually have a coworker who rides his bike, and he stays in Harbortown. So I'm like one way going this way, and he may be like that way going towards Cobo, and he rides his bike everywhere. Like, when I mean everywhere from his house at Harbortown to Cobo to this dude is riding out to Royal Oak to where he's riding out to Plymouth, Michigan. You know, he rides his bike everywhere. And you see a lot of that now. You really do. You see a lot of bike riding, a lot more fitness that I didn't used to see before. A lot of people are working out now.
Good. So, I gotta refer to my notes. I'm not as quick
that's okay.
with it. Oh, I think I asked you. So I always like to end the show with tell people what they're missing in the D. I mean, you've given us a lot, but tell people what they're really missing.
So, what you're missing in the D, Detroit, right here. That's the map. This is where we are. So if they like, where's Detroit? You put your hand up and you say right here, okay? Right here. This is Detroit. What you're missing right now is a surge of just new energy, of families coming back. And when I mean that, I mean young adults like myself and my husband raising your children back in the city. I have a cousin who lives in D.C., just had a baby, him and his wife. And he's like, you know what, kinfolk, he called me kinfolk, though we are not old and we were not born in the South. But he's like, you know what, kinfolk? He was like, I'm going to bring the kid back to Detroit. He was like, we coming and moving back to the crib. And I'm like, you moving back to the crib from DC?
I know which cousin you talking about. Is he really gonna come back?
Yes, he is. His name is Mr. Dwayne Smith, lawyer extraordinaire, sir, in DC. Yes, that's my cousin, kinfolk, all the way, Smith Jeans.
Yeah, we went together.
You went to where?
Michigan together.
Right, yes. Oh my gosh, don't get him talking about Michigan. Jeez.
Small world.
Small world. But bringing families back, raising your children in an environment where it's now becoming really diverse. And for a minute, it wasn't. For me personally, I always stayed in a diverse neighborhood. Was just blessed like that because of the school I went to, the neighborhood I grew up in. I grew up in Grandmont, Rosedale. And, my mom's neighbors are still some of the neighbors that's been there 30 years when we moved over there 30 years ago. My mom has her white neighbors. We may have some Asians over there, but it was still a nice mixed crowd. And for a while, it kind of separated and it didn't. It wasn't like that anymore. People are moving out to Farmington or moving out to Novi, but now people are like coming back in droves, okay? Coming back in droves in the city, and there's so much to offer. Shopping is coming back, community things that are happening are coming back. There's so many community gardens, growing fresh vegetables. It's not even just going to Easter Market anymore. It's growing your own. Having your kids involved in the schools within the neighborhoods, making a standing for something in the city. Detroiters are resilient. We don't give up, and we rep hard for where we're from.
True. This is true.
We rep hard where we're from, but it's because of this love that we have for our city and for each other. The respect. It doesn't matter where you are in the United States of America. Once you say you're from Detroit, you get a lot of street cred. You get a lot of street cred. And it's not, and I'm not hood. Look, do y'all see my pearls? Come on now, I'm not hood, okay? But it's like it's still disrespect. Don't get it twisted. If I gotta cut you, I will. But the love we have for our city. You missing out on the concerts. You missing out on the music. You missing out on just this energy, this pulsating. It's just constantly pulsating. That's what's happening. And you missing out on a lot of fun. We got a lot of concerts coming up at Shane Park. New Edition is coming. That's a big one. Tony Braxton and Babyface just left last week at Shane Park. We just finished our fireworks, the Target fireworks that are well known. We have River Days. I mean, like I said, I'm kicking out all this stuff, and that's what y'all missing. So to end on a note,
actually, I lied. So wait. I also wanted to talk about your involvement because we did meet at DSA, the Detroit Park.
Yes.
And I want to talk about your involvement because you did bring me back to perform for the alumni show last year.
Yes, last year.
So can you talk a little bit about that and what y'all plans are for next year?
So the Detroit School of Arts, which me and you don't call it that, we graduated from the Detroit High School for the Fine and Performing Arts, okay? Full name. Where school was from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then you worked on the weekends sometimes trying to perfect whatever you needed to perfect. Well, starting off the school year for 2013-2014, I was received some information on the news that DSA lost 4 art teachers, and you can't lose art teachers with a performing arts school. That just those two don't go to hand in hand.
Right.
Well, it was a picket. It was meetings. The news was there. All this hoopla. And one teacher who was the last remaining teacher, Miss Cheryl Valentine, she grabbed a lot of alumni to the side after this big meeting. She said, "You all need to do something. You need to figure out. We need to raise some money. Y'all need to do something. Come together." So myself, being an avid involved person, I went to the next meeting, which was like 2 days later. And she's like, "Y'all need to do a fundraiser. Y'all need to do a showcase how y'all used to do back in the day." And I'm just like, "Okay," all the other people. And they said, "Okay, well, who gonna head it up?" And then everybody looked at me, and I'm like, why I gotta leave? Like, what the heck? Really?
Mm-hmm.
And they was like, "Connie, because you know everybody." And it's crazy because I really personally don't feel like I know everybody. I feel like I know a lot of people, but I never realized the network that I have. So what I ended up doing, all these people came together, and we threw a showcase together in 3 weeks, which you were one of the ones that came in from out of town, which I really appreciated. I just thought that was amazing, your love for the school, and we rocked it. We turned it around in 3 weeks. We were on Fox 2 News. We were in the newspapers. We were on Twitter, everything on social media, and we raised over $2,000 in 3 weeks, okay?
Wow.
So that was a blessing. So we were able to write a check back to the school to help these teachers out. With that buzz, we end up that people were like, "Well, who are you? Who are you all? Are you all the association, alumni association?" I said, "Actually, no, we're not. We're not associated with the association right now," because they were kind of discombobulated. So we came up with the name called the Alumni Advocates. And what we do, we advocate for the arts. We advocate for the students, and we advocate for the teachers, where with that advocacy, if we increase the awareness, we increase the enrollment. If we increase the enrollment, we increase the monies. If we increase the monies, then we have a full functioning, sustaining, performing arts high school that it once was. So now that school is out, we're kind of at a break, but my team, we're getting together in a couple of weeks to sit down and get ready for 2014-2015. We are going to work on doing another alumni showcase, because like in February, we did an art show, and it was alumni from 1996, the first graduating class, to some present students.
Okay.
We had an alumni showcase event in February where we raised a little bit over $1,000, where art piece was sold. So all the artists that actually brought their art, we were able to buy from them, and they received that money. So that money was going back into their pockets. Anything that they sold on their table, they got back. But the money we made at the door is what we gave back to the school. A portion of that we gave back to the school. So it was just that circle. I want to continue that circle and that conversation, because the reason things disseminate and they don't exist anymore is because we stopped talking about it. And you can't stop talking about the arts. You can't stop talking about the importance of education. And it was so important to me that I actually did my thesis on that for my master's. It was Detroit School of Arts, finding the balance between fine arts versus education, and how both of those go hand in hand. People don't realize that the arts help you in your math. They help you in your science. As Ms. Valentine said in an interview I did with her, which I think would be another great person to contact and connect with, Ms. Valentine said, in order to read music, you got to count. So you have to know math in order to read sheet music. You have to learn the counts in order to understand your geometry. That stuff goes hand in hand, just like with art. In order for you to come up with these colors and these dimensions, you have to know your math. You have to know the history of, I can't even think of their names right now. Normally, a I'm about to say Diego Riviera, Diego, you
Yeah.
know, Michelangelo, all these different people. In order to know that, you have to know that history in order for you to move forward. And I know what that school did for me. I know what it did for you. I mean, I'm just so proud of you and everything and your accomplishments. And it's so many of our generation, the people that graduated from 4333 Rosa Parks Boulevard. I will plug that in, that the people in that dynamic, their work ethic. Celia Keenan Boger, first graduating class of DSA, is a Tony Award winner and continues to be a Tony Award winner. You know, you have people who are TV hosts, who are actors, who are performers around the world. Quick note, Charles Wilson, who graduated with me, he's now performing with the Michael Jackson Circus du Soleil tour. You know, that's just one of the many people on his resume, which I've actually gone to 2 free concerts because of him, John Mayer and Justin Timberlake, because he both was on there. But you have stuff like that. But you also have a lot of scientists that came from DSA. So it's not about the arts. My best friend, Deirdre Shelton Young, she's a dentist. You have Amir Witt, she's a scientist. She worked for University of Georgia, I believe. You know, so you have engineers. Eddie Wright, he's an engineer for Delphi, who's now currently in China. You know, you have a Lauren Thomas, who was a theater major as myself. She owned a bookstore called Ladles, where my children frequent all the time, because now you had a children's bookstore in the city of Detroit, in Corktown. So you have these different people that are doing things. My husband, he's into IT, loves the sciences, a big techie person. If you can see our office, it's nothing but keyboards and hard drives and boogadads everywhere. But and he was a visual arts major, okay? But those are the things about the importance of education and bringing that camaraderie back into that school. And that's what the Alumni Advocates is about, is bringing that unity. What I hear now, which is so sad, is that the majors don't intertwine like they used to. You know how when we were in high school, everybody was together. You know, we were in the hallway together. You come in our one class, you're together. Well, now in that school, departments are so, they're in their own area in the school that they never meet. They never glide. They never mesh together. And when you don't mesh, it really, you miss a puzzle piece. And that's where we were all so successful with each other, is because of our meshing of our arts together, the meshing of just our lifestyles. You know, everyone learned from each other. If it may be something that they learned from home, you know, they brought it to school. Their parents, who their parents were and how involved they were. Our parents were really involved. And that goes back to that Detroit city. People are getting more involved. And by you getting involved in the community, you bring that oneness together. You bring that there is a problem, we are going to find the solution together.
Right.
I think that's what's really happening. And I'm excited. I love where we are. Our neighborhood is full of parks. So just like the Target fireworks, my family and I, we walked up the street, laid a pallet on the park, and watched it from our home instead of going down to Hart Plaza, which everyone should still experience Hart Plaza once in their life for fireworks, because it is amazing. But for us, you know, we were at home. We were in the comfort of our home, outside in nature, in God's green earth, enjoying all of the resources around us. So Detroit has a lot of resources. And people, when you come visit, you know, or if you want to make a change, it's not about coming thinking you're coming to save the city. It's about coming to be a part of something to help grow that community. People think, oh, I'm coming from Cali, or oh, I'm coming from Seattle or Washington, or, you know, Georgia, you know, New York, DC. Oh, I'm coming to bring this new thing to the city because they need me. No, boo-boo. We don't need you. You know, you can come help and aid, but we don't need you.
Right. And that's important to mention, that, you know, a lot of people have this savior complex, thinking that, you know, they're going to come to Detroit and do something new that nobody has has attempted.
Right.
And they're going to be the savior of the city, but you have to participate within the community, and you also have to get approval from the community to just be traipsing up into a situation.
The grants and the proposals.
You said that.
Yeah, the grants and the proposals, the permission slips, you signing off releases, they don't play. I'm serious. Like, we have a community garden up the street, and you got to sign so many pieces of paper. Like, look, you gonna take part. You have to be involved. We have to do at least 10 hours of community garden together. It's not just you coming in and taking care of your little plot. No, you have to do community hours because you need to get to know your neighbors. And that's one of the biggest things that I like about that garden, because it's like we're coming together. This is not just you by yourself. Everybody get to know who your neighbor is. Get to know the person that lives 4 blocks away from you, or 4 houses away from you, who stays right next door to you. And they make that a stipulation to be a part of that community. And you can't go and work at the Cass and Willis garden when you stay on Palmer and John R. You got to work at the Palmer and John R. because that's where you live. So when you live, I'm serious. When you live, play, and eat where you are, it makes a whole hell of a difference with how you view life and your perspective, because you are in tune to your environment because you're invested. And that's what it's about. It's about being invested in the community. And that's what people are missing. You got to be invested.
That was a great way to wrap it up. I'm glad we ended on that note. And thank you so much again for coming on to the show, Connie.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime. Anytime. See you guys. Don't forget the map. Don't forget the map. Detroit.